Hi there, and welcome back to the Sticks Plus Twine channel. This is episode 40. My name is Eric. I'm coming to you from my home here in Toronto, in the knitting room, which is also known as our guest room, but when we don't have guests, we have knitting. So, yeah, it's been a while since I've done an episode sort of solo. You may have come to see the last couple of episodes have been with my wonderful friend Sandy of the By the Lakeside podcast. But for all those people who are new to the channel, welcome. I can be found on Ravelry as EPLUTZ or Z, depending on where you're from. I can also be found on Instagram as e.p.lutz, where I'm primarily active as my platform of choice, primarily because I really like Instagram. Finished objects. I finished it. This is socket hat number, I think it's actually 3. I think it's number 3 that I've made. And as much as I love the pattern, I have realized that I am not a huge fan of slouchy hats. This is not blocked, by the way. I actually prefer them to be a little bit more beanie-like with just a little bit of slouch. So when I made this one, decided to pull it off the needles a little bit early. So it's got just a little bit of slouch in the back. It's very, very warm because this is an MCN, fingering weight yarn. This is by Knitting Wolf, Luxury Yarns in the Sasha Velour drag colorway, which was after if you're a fan of Drag Race like I am, that will come as no surprise as to what the color is based on. I'm sure you'll know what it is. However, it is based on the finale outfit that Sasha Velour, who won Drag Race, I think it was season 9, might have been season 10, but I'm pretty sure it was season 9, on her sort of final outfit. And I thought it was only so appropriate because she's very famous for having done a wig reveal, and anyway, it's a lot of fun, and I love this hat. It's very, very warm because it is an MCN base, fingering weight. It's got some great colors to it. I've also got a new lighting system in here, so it's actually a little brighter than I think it would normally look. But anyway, I did make one really weird adjustment when I was knitting it for some reason, and I do like a folded brim typically, but for some reason when I was knitting the brim, the ribbing, I decided to throw a row of just knitting across the ribbing. I think I meant to do that so that it sort of gives you a nice place to fold up the ribbing. But I don't know why I did it, because it's not where I would normally do it anyway. Anyway, it's crazy ridiculous. So if I put it on this way, it has a lot more slouch to it. You can sort of see it's a lot slouchier. Which actually, you know what? I don't hate it. I really don't hate it on. Okay, so maybe I'll leave it on for a little while. So anyway, that's the one finished object that I've got. I did finish another project, the principal knitting part. I just have to finish it, which is, I'm going to pull it out, and it's going to be a disaster when I do it, but I'm going to do it anyway, because there's a stray piece of yarn attached, whatever. This is the Judoka Cowl. All the knitting is done, and it looks huge for a cowl, but if I can unwrap it a little bit, the reason it's huge is because you actually fold it in half and then graft it using a Kitchener stitch or a 3-needle bind-off, a joinery bind-off, to close up the loop. And guys, I'm not going to lie, I used a provisional cast-on, because that's what it calls for in the pattern, and I used the wrong yarn because I was so eager to cast this on at Rhinebeck, which is where I got the yarn for this. And we'll cover that in a sec, don't worry. But I used this really fuzzy yarn, which was like total amateur hour. I don't know why I did that, but I totally did an amateur hour move and decided that I was going to cast on right away, and it took hours to undo the provisional cast on. I still don't know. I got all the yarn out. I got it on a needle, so these are needles on either side, but oh my god, did I ever have to struggle to get that done. It's done. Some of the stitches are falling off, but it's Brooklyn Tweed Loft, so it's not moving anywhere, so I can sort of pick them up a little easier. And I need to graft it, but I think I was so frustrated by the amount of work, and I keep looking up at the screen instead of at the lens, I'm sorry. I was so frustrated by the amount of work I had to do to get it onto the needles that I kind of had to put it away. It needed a timeout. I am going to finish it this month because it is Finish It February after all, and I really want this done. I want to be able to wear it this year. So this is Brooklyn Tweed Loft. It is in 2 colors. This is a pattern, I'm sort of skipping ahead, one thing at a time. It's been a while since I've done this. I'm sorry, guys. It is in Brooklyn Tweed Loft. The darker green is Yellowstone, which is one of their fall colorways that they came out with last year. And Foothills, which is the lighter gray-green color, which I really loved. This sort of, I love the juxtaposition of the colors, the contrast between them. Very much in my wheelhouse for a change. Everything's in my wheelhouse except this hat that I'm wearing. So I will get that done, and I'm hoping by the next time I see you, I will have that finished and then I can show you what it looks like. It's actually quite a big piece of knitting, and I'm not super confident in my color work two-handed knitting skills. I was worried about the yarn being a bit soft, softly spun for me, because it is a woolen spun yarn that I would end up putting weird tension on it. So I did the whole thing one-handed, and it was the weirdest thing, but I got it done. So actually, I have to say it smells really nice too. I think part of that is the hand cream that I was using when I was knitting with it. I find Loft and Shelter, the yarn's quite crisp and dry, so I tend to have to use quite a bit of hand moisturizing when I'm working with them. Anyway, so that is, I would call that a half-finished object, but it's a little more than half truly. So it's a project yet to be finished. Is that a cop-out? What do you think? I don't know. I think it works. And there's that. So that's really what I'm working on right now. I do have some projects that, unfortunately, I can only show you the yarn. I can't show you the actual project itself because it's a new design I'm working on, and I kind of want to keep it under wraps until it's done, but that's coming up next. So, as I promised, I will show you a part of the new project that I'm working on. This is a design that I'm working on that I'm hoping to have finished in time for the Toronto Knitters Frolic, which happens at the end of April. So I've got still quite a bit of time to get through it, but there's a lot of knitting involved. Well, a lot of knitting for me. I'm excited because I actually really love this project. I'm making this project in, this is the Margot base from Primrose, and it is in the Elderberry colorway. So that's the ball that's rounded out. It's actually, the Margot is 150 grams, so it's a lot bigger of a skein. It's a skein and a half. So the project's going to be a 3-fingering skein or 2 of Margot. And I just want to show, I'm not going to show the textured pattern, but I want to show how the color works up. Isn't that pretty? It's this sort of gray-green, are we sensing a theme? Sort of base, but it's got deeper bits of olive and forest green and hunter green and some berry colors in it, and I find it's just delicious to work with, and it feels so good. Like, this is a really, really nice yarn. I think it's a combination of the twist in it and the fiber content. It is really, really good stuff. I'm really loving working with it, and I wish I could show you more of it, but I'm only about a third of the way through, and I don't want to give it away yet because I still want to make sure that the rest of it works out the way I want. But anyway, that's what I'm working on now. I've been pretty much just working on that project. I haven't really worked on anything else lately because it's super, super, super good TV knitting. And we've had some challenges in the family lately, health-wise. And I needed something that was just like, I need to watch something fantastical on TV and knit something that made me just feel like I could just sort of relax the brain quite a bit. And this project is doing that. So I'm really excited to get this out in front of you. But for now, you'll just have to be content with knowing that there's one coming. Anyway, that's what I'm working on. So not a huge amount to talk about there. I did want to share with you a little bit of stuff that I picked up this week. I went to the Knitters Loft on Friday, and for anyone who's new, that is, I think it's Toronto's newest yarn shop. and it is a fantastic space run by some incredible people. And Viv and Bruna and Maria are amazing. They have, I think, probably one of the best selections of yarn in the entire city. And I just love it. I love everything they have. And they just got in a whole shipment of Twig and Horn accessories, which I'm a huge fan of. But I don't want to pay the shipping costs, so I'm really glad they got it in. So I want to show you what I picked up from there. First of all, I picked up this set of Twig and Horn stitch holders, and these are, they come in 4 different sizes, 2 of each size. Sorry for the noise a little bit, you'll just have to bear with me while I pull a couple out to show you. They are, oh, one's stuck to the paper, isn't that fun? There we go. They are these antique brass stitch holders. So you can see that there's 2, I'll just show you one so you can sort of see. They're just like great big huge safety pins for putting sleeves on hold, and they come in 4 different sizes, so you get sort of this largest size, which is great for, you know, an underarm, a sleeve, a hem, something like that. But then there's also a bunch of little sizes, so if you're doing cuffs or the underarm of a sleeve when you join, you've got a few different options to work with. And they were not very expensive, so I think these were, I want to say $15. And I thought they were great. I mean, they're just little pieces of metal, but they're really, really handy, and I really love good tools. But I also picked up from Twig and Horn a set of their, whoops, almost had drama there, a set of their sock blockers. And these are their Argyle sock blockers. There's the logo. Hey, maybe that's my shot right there. Hi. They're very thick. They're made from, looks like MDF, and they're not flexible. Well, tiny little bend in them, but hardly anything. This is the large size, which I need because I have big feet apparently. And that's what it looks like with the sock on. So it works, I think, quite well. I was a little worried that they might actually be too big, but I find that most sock blockers are too small. I'd rather have them just slightly too big to start with. But anyway, this is the sock yet to be blocked. I haven't worn them or blocked them. This is the Miss Babs Rhinebeck 2016 colorway, and I just did a vanilla 72 stitch sock, which I think I talked about in our last episode when I was with Sandy. But there you go, now you can see how it fits. So I'm thrilled that I picked those up. I've been wanting those for quite a while. I also picked up this cute little jar. Now this is going to have maybe a struggle to get it to focus. No, maybe not. New camera, I'm still learning. Sorry if it is out of focus. But these are stitch markers in this tiny little cork-topped bottle. And they're just the bulb kind, you know, the standard little guys. This is not going to work out, I'm going to tell you right now, but I shall try. No, they're just the little bulb ones. And they're sort of antique brass, which I love the aesthetic of. But now I have just these tiny little ones in the little jar that is just too cute. So, picked that up. I don't remember how much that was. I don't remember how much the sock blockers were, I'm sorry. But, I also, when I was there, happened to be the release day of the new Lina magazine. This is issue 7, which, I'm not going to lie, I don't know exactly why I keep buying this. There are maybe at best 1 or 2 patterns that I can maybe think of to use, to make for myself. Garments obviously are geared towards women, so it tends to be more an accessories thing. But I really enjoy the magazine. I love the texture of it, I love the feel of the paper, I like the stories, I like the recipes. There's a couple of new recipes. There's actually one project that I really am seriously considering casting on, and I'm just trying to find the picture of it. It is a collaboration between Stephen West and Nancy Marchant, and I'm just going to hold it up this way so you can see it, hopefully. That wonderful scarf is a collaboration between them. It has brioche, it has Stephen West's little slide and knit, but you've got to see this. Check this picture out. That thing looks enormous. So I actually kind of want to make it, and I feel like I have enough yarn in stash that I could make it. Anyway, I love this magazine. I have all of them, and I don't know, I just because there's nothing in it that, or I can't possibly make everything in it. There's a lot of very feminine patterns because it's a magazine geared towards women. Doesn't mean that I don't want to support them and that I don't want to share in my appreciation of what they do. Because I do. I love a lot of what they do. I love the look of the magazine. I just can't say enough. Anyway, it's a pricey little thing, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to treat yourself. So, you know, I have enough yarn in my life that I don't really need any more yarn, but I do like being inspired. Even the colors that they choose to do their samples in, sometimes I find really inspiring. So, anyway, I picked that up. And another thing came in the post, which is my new Hobonichi Mega Weeks, which is a yellow. I got yellow. And I'm using this. It's interesting. So my lovely friend Sandy, if you don't watch her, you should. She's by the lakeside. Find her. Is sort of like my organization guru. She kind of loves all the same things that I do when it comes to notebooks and things. And what I really love about this particular book is that it has your standard typical calendar, which is, you know, it's very organized, very great. I use the calendar part, it's got two little bookmarks. I use it to sort of track the knitting that I'm working on, how much I'm doing, notes about it, how do I feel about it, what did I have to rip back, just as a record for me on that. I find pulling out a pencil and jotting down a few notes really, really beneficial. But what I also love about it is that it gives you, I'm not going to show you the pattern pages because I've written out a pattern in it. You get nearly, if not more than half the book, I think it is more than half the book, of just graph paper, which is perfect for taking notes, and it's perfect for writing down pattern ideas and design ideas that I would like to make. So this is going to be my new sort of knitting inspiration and tracking notebook. And it fits very, very, very well in my town bag. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the town bag because I had a few people actually talk to me or ask me for a review of it and what I thought of it. You can see that I've got a couple of other bags up here. I have a couple of field bags, and I have over there, which you can't see, but I can see, I have a porter bin. I have quite a few of them. But this being the town bag, I ordered it without really thinking about it the day that came out because I really wanted the brown. And I thought it would look a lot more like a work bag, like a tool kit bag, and a lot of ways it does. Now when you do up the top, it does look more like a purse. Not gonna lie, looks like a purse. So I usually don't do that as much. I usually leave it more open. But I really like toting this around because it lets me take my projects and all the stuff that I need for the projects in there. I always have a pouch, by the lakeside pouch, that has my notions in it. I've got a couple of pencils, a couple of notebooks, a pattern, yarn, of course, the current project I'm working on, a couple of pins, which I love having, and the front pockets are perfect for things like hand moisturizer. I put my phone in one when I take it with me. And I've been spending quite a bit of time in the hospital, you know, with various appointments and stuff. And it's kind of nice to just have this just tote around. And when I do sort of feel like I might need to sort of be on the move, it's easy to grab my project and go and not worry about it not fitting, because I do sometimes have larger projects. This hat is getting quite warm. I'm not sweating under it, but it's getting warm. So I would say that I like the brown the best because I like the contrast between the waxed canvas. This is all waxed canvas that wraps around the bottom as well, so it protects the bottom from, you know, anything that might be on a table or something. It's also got a nice big pocket in the back. But I like the contrast between them. And as noted earlier, said Hobonichi fits in the back pocket perfectly. So it's in there. There, you can see it. So I really, really, really like it for that. It's really, really versatile. And I carry it actually quite a bit, but it also opens up really nicely to just work on, and I have it next to me on the couch at night when I'm watching my latest obsession, which is Gotham. I missed out on the first couple of seasons, but Netflix has seasons 1 through 4 here in Canada, so I've been watching, I think I'm almost on season 2. So, yeah. So that's my review of the Town Bag. I have also had a review request about the Indian Lake Artisans needles. So, a little bit of backtracking. Rhinebeck this year, I first picked up a couple of pairs of their interchangeable needles, and I hadn't really used them yet. I had them, but I knew that I loved what I had tried. And so at Vogue Knitting in New York, they also had a booth, and I went and picked up a few more. So now I've got them all in their original cases still, except for the ones I'm using on the current knitting project, design project I'm working on. They live in my Twig and Horn wool pouch, primarily because I want to keep them in the state in which I got them, in the little bags to keep everything together. So they live in here, and also they're very light. I have the maple in the smaller circumferences, and I have the walnut in the larger ones where they're available. And I have to say, I was told when I bought them that the maple are the slickest, then they have a cherry one which has a little bit more drag, and then walnut has the most drag. I really, really, really liked the aesthetic of the walnut ones, so I went where I could. I bought almost all walnut. But they were a bit draggy, which, not gonna lie, I wasn't crazy about. But they had said that the more you use them, the slicker they become. And if you use a more natural wool with it, you know, something maybe with some lanolin in it, the more you use it, the softer the wood feels and the less drag it has. I can now tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, that that is true. I started out on this new design project feeling like, oh, was this a bad choice? And I feel like now they were the perfect choice. The tips are sharp enough that you can move quickly. They're perfect for doing SSKs, knit 2 togethers, knit 3 togethers, slipping multiple stitches, and yet they're super comfortable because they're hexagonal in shape. They're very comfortable for your hands. They feel smaller than a traditional needle. Oh, sorry, I forgot to put my phone on silent. They feel smaller than a traditional needle because it's only the points of the hexagons that are large enough to form the stitch. There's sort of like a little space between them. They're not fully round. So you end up getting a bit more a purchase for your hands. There's more flat surfaces for your hands to land on, but they're also a little bit smaller feeling. So don't let that put you off. They are true to size. I tested it in needle gauge while I was there and also when I got home just to sort of trust myself. But they are really, really, really nice. Now, they are spendy. I'm not going to lie. They are expensive. But I figure I'll buy a couple of tips at a time. And they are an investment. Although I've never had to test their claims on their replacement policy, I have been assured that should something happen to one of them, that they will ship you a replacement relatively quickly. I've also been told that if you sort of collect a certain number of a set, they will give you the credit for that set back against if you choose to purchase the full set. So rather than spending I don't know how much it is, $275, $300 for the full set, if you buy 3 or 4 or 5 of them, they will credit back the value of those against the purchase of the remaining of the set, if that makes sense. So I feel like it's a good investment. I really am really pleased that I decided to take the plunge and start to buy them. I have used many different kinds of needles. I have a couple of pairs of Knit Picks interchangeable sets. I have an Addy Click set. I have a Hi Sharp set. And I also now have this one. And I have multiple others. I have some Knit Pro Zings. I have all kinds of different brands. And I really, really like these. So I'm testing it out on this design. And I feel like My next true test will be I plan on casting on a sweater in Brooklyn Tweed Shelter shortly, and I will be using those needles. I used them for a swatch and they felt very sticky, but now that I know that they do get smoother and faster, they will never be as fast as a metal needle, especially a chrome plated like an Addy like Rocket or something. Those will always be faster because they're so slick. But there's something tactile about it. It just feels very organic and natural. So anyway, my kudos to these guys. Just so you know, they did not give, I got like no discount. No, I didn't ask for one, nor would I expect one. This is not a sponsored message by them. This is entirely me. I spent my own money on these, and I really, really like them. So there's that. I feel like this is going to be a really short episode, guys. Like, I've kind of zoomed through stuff, but I don't mind putting out a shorter one now and again. I'm hoping that next time we speak, I will have more to chat about, and I hope that you are doing very well. I will hopefully try and record in the next couple of weeks and sort of show off, hopefully, a finished design or at least a couple of new cast-ons. So happy knitting, happy TV viewing if that's what you're watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. I have a feeling most of this is going to get deleted because I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I gotta remember to look at the camera. I got a new camera. Yay, hi new camera. Oh god, blah blah blah.